Hey guys, Aikon again. Today I thought I'm going to talk about something, well, much more simple, much more fun, much more laid back in this case. Today I want to talk about 2016 new IP in terms of video games, right? Like what kind of new video game that come out this year that is a new IP, that is brand new intellectual property for these publisher and developer, and what are some of the stuff that you might want to look at, especially for these new IP. We all know that when you have a new IP and stuff like that, it's very difficult for publisher and developer to get attention from us audiences, right? And today I want to highlight some of those games. It's definitely interesting and definitely something to think about, especially so in video game medium. We have so many game and we have so many franchises and new iteration of franchise when it come out. Like my channel is dedicated so much on Dishonored, right? I make a lot of Dishonored 2 content, and that's because a lot of people love Dishonored 1, and a lot of those people will eventually buy Dishonored 2. And so we have this trend where when there's a new game in the franchise, people are gonna buy it. A really good example of that is games like Call of Duty, games like Battlefield, right? When there's a new iteration of those franchise, they sell like a cupcake. But let's focus on 2016. Let's focus on something new, something different, right? And so I want to start off by talking about game that everyone probably here know about. It's Overwatch, right? Overwatch is probably one of the most successful new IP this year, if you don't count Ubisoft new IP that I'm going to talk about next. But in terms of the fact that the review, the critique love it, the fan love it, it's just overall just overwhelmingly positive feeling toward this game. Overwatch is probably one of the most beloved game of this year, and those belovedness have last quite long. Like people like to say that they love this game, they love that game, but you can tell that those hype, those anticipation of those games, those excitement for those games doesn't seem to last very long. That's not the case with Overwatch. People still excited about this game 6 months after the game come out. This month right now, the day that I'm recording this video, it is October. The game came out in I believe May, so it's around 5 or 6 months already since the game come out. People are still playing the game, people are still talking about the game. The new patch just got released, and we have this Halloween costume and all this kind of character in Halloween skins, and all this new voice line and new co-op mode. And it's like Blizzard is still working hard on this game, and you can see that they're looking at it long term as well, which is kind of interesting because it's not a free to play game, it's a paid game. So you pay once, and there's not too many way for them to monetize on it. So you have to thumb up and give Blizzard for all the credit they deserve, because well, it's a paid game. You already paid your money, and they don't know if you're gonna buy the skin. Not everyone gonna buy the cosmetic. So it's a very risky business for them to offer this game on such a long haul and give so many content and update. But in many way, I think that's what win people over. That's why people love the game so much. The next one I want to talk about, this one is the one that is going to be the most debatable. I would say that this game is a new IP, but a lot of people will say, oh, it's an existing IP, everyone know about it. But personally, I feel that the fact that Doom come out in 2016 and it's completely so different from anything that we have ever seen, and it's quite possibly one of the best first-person shooter we have seen in a very, very long time. It really shows that this game is so different from old Doom that you could easily consider it a new IP. And if I were Bethesda right now, I would definitely consider this my new IP in terms of business perspective, right? Like, this franchise is gonna sell now. So if you make the next Doom, like Doom 2, right? The thing is, it's gonna sell because it's now an established franchise. If you were to talk about Doom back in the day, right? And then you said, oh, we want to make a new Doom, but we want it to be similar to Doom 2 or maybe Doom 3, which I don't know if people would agree with that, but I don't know if people are gonna buy into that. Maybe the franchise doesn't have that much staying power, right? But the fact that they reinvigorate everything, they change everything, I feel like Doom is pretty awesome now, and I would consider it a new IP in this generation of like iteration of Call of Duty and stuff like that. It's so stale. The first person genre is so stale. People are not taking any risk at all, and it's awesome to see Doom come back. So I would consider it a new IP. You can argue that it is an old IP by technicality. The next one I want to talk about is The Witness. The Witness is probably the more interesting game because it's very polarizing game. Those who like it love the game, right? They love the puzzle aspect of it. And then there's those who like, I don't like puzzle, I don't enjoy the game. Why is this a puzzle game, right? Why don't you just put this in a mobile device and make it a drawing line game? There's a lot of argument against it being a mobile game because there's a lot of environmental puzzle as well in the game. So you can't really make it mobile. You have to have that world, you have to have that that environment to create those puzzles, to utilize those puzzles to create those aha moment, right? But even those who love the game also criticize the game for being too long-winded. You have to do something over and over again. You have to question if it was designed for, or whether Jonathan Blow really believed that people are so invested in this world that they would, sit on a boat for like minutes just to get from one point to another. It seems some of the design seems really weird, and for someone like me, right, I play through the business and I'm like, I didn't play through it. I just got stuck basically. I just play it into it a little bit. I beat some of the early puzzle, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm stuck here, let's go to different type of puzzle. Yeah, I'm stuck here, let's go to different type of puzzle. Yeah, I'm stuck here. And it's like everywhere I go, I keep getting stuck. The character move really slow. I just don't want to play the game anymore, and that's my personal opinion. But I have to respect the artistry that go into this game. The fact that people love it so much. I love to listen to the Giant Bomb podcast. They were very much into this game, and they were like, "Oh, what did you do here? What part were you stuck on?" and stuff like that. And it's like, maybe it's me, right? My IQ maybe not high enough to play through the game, but like lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people who are much more critical than I am really love the game, and it really show that you can make a great puzzle game in this day and age, and it's really awesome. The next one is probably the most successful one financially. It's The Division from Ubisoft. When I mentioned that Overwatch is the best one, I'm like, wait a minute, Division come out this year, and I'm like, yeah, Division is obviously so better than Overwatch, but I can't say in terms of fan. Like the game already start getting mixed review on Steam already, I believe. It's because of the lack of support from Ubisoft, and this is like complete opposite from Overwatch. The fact that Overwatch keep getting support from Blizzard, and the opposite is true for Division. Nobody want to play that game anymore because there's so many bugs. Not bug, but like it's bug that is created by a player using hack, using cheat and stuff like that. And the progression system doesn't seem to go very far after you get to a certain point, and you have to grind a lot and stuff like that. They just ruin the whole potential of having the game being long lasting and creating those goodwill to those customers who might come back and buy Division 2 or some other sequel for this game, right? Then we have Salt and Sanctuary. This is a game that I don't see a lot of people talk about. People like to say it's a soul-inspired game. It's like a 2D Dark Soul game. I don't see it that way though. I think it's a 2D game that incorporates a lot of same element, the same design that go, okay, the game is going to be difficult, but it's going to be rewarding, right? It's difficult enough to challenge you, but it's not too difficult to make you go pull your hair out, right? Which actually you might, but it's supposed to challenge you. It make you think sometime too, and it have a lot of those design philosophy that Dark Souls have, and it's great. I feel like Dark Souls created its own type of play experience. I wouldn't say its own genre, because an action RPG have been around for a really long time, and this is definitely not an action RPG game. But that fact that this type of challenge and game design that really asks a lot for player, it asks players to look at the player in its soul and look and go, you have to do something, right? It's like, it expect you to do something that you think that you probably couldn't do. It challenge you quite hard, but it tell you that by the end you're gonna get a good reward. You're gonna feel satisfied. You're gonna feel great playing through the game. And it's a new genre of game created by Dark Soul franchises, and I feel that it's awesome to see other type of game incorporating those design philosophy, not necessarily the same game, right? Like, but the design ideology that go within it, and so it's so cool. I just like Soul and Sanctuary and its design so much. The next one is Enter the Gungeon. For those who enjoy roguelike experience, this is going to be right up their alley. It's very similar to things like Binding of Isaac, but it has a lot of its own element and its own quirk and its own cuteness. The whole gun as a weapon and as your character is very cool. Like it's everything is kind of built around the gun, and like the different gun does different things. Some of the gun is just absolutely garbage, but like some of them are really, really good, and it's really gonna propel you forward. If you enjoy roguelike, you're gonna like the game. There's so much random element that sometimes you want to pull your hair out, but sometimes it feels pretty awesome and it all go to plan. The next one is Unravel. This one is one of the cute little platformer game that EA decided to publish as their indie whatever they call it. They keep changing the name. Every E3 they come out and they say we have an indie initiative and they call it a new name. So I keep forgetting what the name is called, but it's basically an EA indie program that they talk to a lot of obscure indie developer, and then they make a deal to publish for them, and for Origin that create a good Origin content for EA, right? For them it's also kind of like create those goodwill toward the EA as well, that oh wait, we're not always making this AAA big game, you're also making this cool little game for the fan, for the people who might have interest in it as well. So it's a really cool thing that EA does. I can't hate them on it. The game turned out to be pretty cute, pretty awesome, but it's it's a platformer game, so it doesn't take too long to beat it. The game doesn't have lasting power, but it's like it's one of those games you want to sit back and relax, and it reminded me a lot of Little Big Planet, but the whole yarn design and cuteness that's go into it does make it a lot better than Little Big Planet. But you don't have those level design aspect into it, so it's a trade-off, I guess. But still really cool game. Apsu is, a lot of people would like to compare it to Journey, and it's, well, you could compare it to Journey because it has a lot of design that is the same with Journey. They say it's a Zen game. It's a game that you want to sit back, relax, and it's just like you don't think too much. You just kind of move forward in your controller, and you go through these crazy environment, get to see crazy things, solve simple puzzle, right, and move forward and experience this breathtaking moment. Very similar to Journey, but I feel that it doesn't have as much substance as Journey, which is kind of ironic saying substance when you talk about Journey, when Journey doesn't have any kind of substance. But like Journey have those like small cutscene that it's like a moving movie, but it doesn't have sound, it doesn't have storytelling. It just look at you, and it just kind of like it just let you interpret what you want it to mean. And like I think there's something powerful about that, something powerful about creating something, and then rather than tell you what it means, you give it to someone else and let them experience it for themselves. It's like a toy, right? A little toy you play, but rather than giving you a toy to play with, it gives you a toy in terms of story. It gives you a sense of story and mysterious aspect into it, and it make you think, and it make you go, what is going on? What do I think about this? And I know some players brush that off really quickly, but like for those who look at it and think a little bit about it, and there's a lot of players who think too much about it, which I'm like, yeah, that's cool for you, but like personally I wouldn't think that much into it. But like just when you think just a little bit, it feels that the game have much more meaning, right? And those meaning come from you. It doesn't come from the game itself, it doesn't come from the developer, right? But it come from you, and the beautiness of the world only added to that. But Apsu doesn't seem to have that story, right? That respect that Journey have with its player to tell the player, go, whoa, like it's not just a cool world, it's not just a cool looking stuff, right? It's also about this little story that we want you to interpret for yourself, that we trust you to look at it and experience it and come up with your own kind of like ideology and belief that go with it. So that's level of respect. It's something that if you was missing from Apsu. It's still a really fun, refreshing game, and it's definitely in a genre that doesn't have too much competition, right? In terms of art direction and stuff like that, it's second to none. Like outside of Journey, I would say it's like it might actually be better in terms of artistic design. A lot of people say like those like fish, those stuff. People make a really good argument about that. Like in terms of AI design, in terms of all these character, all this moving stuff, and like how it changed based on some of your movement as well. It's definitely maybe more advanced than Journey is. I mean like technically, but like it still doesn't have those those storytelling that I feel that Journey have. So it's a trade-off again, and I'm glad that it exists because there's not a lot of game like that, definitely. The next one is Headlander. Headlander come from Double Fine. Most people probably know Double Fine. They make really weird game, but they make it work somehow. It's one of the few games that they actually finish because, well, they're actually working for a publisher this time. They're working for Adult Swim. So unlike most Double Fine project that end up in limbo when they they have too much idea, they have too much ambition, which I have to respect them for that. I mean, like, a lot of people shit on them for like, oh, you fail, right? Like, because you don't have good financial management, and there is some level of responsibility that I feel they should have, especially when you maybe kickstarted your game, or maybe you make promises that you can't keep. There's some level of that, but I have to respect their creativity and their artistry. That like these Double Fine people, they come up with a lot of cool stuff, and it's like some of the stuff they come up with, you have to really, really, really look at it and go, wow, how did you come up with this? Like games like Psychonaut and older game like Stacking, for example, like those are games that you wouldn't normally come up with, and if Double Fine doesn't exist, it like those games would never exist. So it's really hard to wrong them for something they try to do. They try hard to do. Like they love Broken Age, obviously, but the second part is not as good, and they shouldn't broke it into two part, obviously. But like, it's all about them wanting to do something. They're wanting to do more and wanting to create something. It's those ambition, those optimism that I have to respect. Like, I can't like make fun of them, or feel good about pointing finger when they work hard, when they care about these projects. And so yeah, like it's cool Double Fine is making cool game, and it's actually nice that it is finished for once. But it's also, you have to respect them. You can't blame them too much for trying, right? Like, when we make fun of company for not trying, why are we antagonizing a company for trying harder, right? Next one is Fury. Fury is probably the coolest game I played this year. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's free on PSN, so it's one of those games that like everyone play, like, and everyone seems to love. I didn't beat it yet. I think this is one of the games that I need to beat this year because I have so much fun with this game. It's just so simple. A lot of people say it's a like a top-down shooter game, but I like to think of it as an action game though, because like the action feels so right. It feels like you're playing like a God of War or a Devil May Cry game, but without the combo element. Of course, those games have much more complexity in terms of combo, and Bayonetta is a great example of that as well. Like those combo, those witch time, those crazy element. This game doesn't have that. It doesn't go too complicated, but the fact that it switched from like this action to going to top down, to using gun, to using parrying and stuff like that, it feels really satisfying. It gives you a lot of those Dark Souls vibe as well, because you'll be fighting a lot of boss. In fact, I think the entire game is about fighting boss, and all these boss are designed in such a unique way, and they are really fun to fight with. So I thought Fury was really, really fun. It's one of the most fun I have had, and the game design is so cool. It's like, and it has one of those things that I love, which is something that I'm gonna talk about really soon. I'm making a video about it. It's about duality of the character. It's when character have a dual personality, or well, I don't know if it's dual personality. Like I said, I haven't beat the game, so I wouldn't say this is a spoiler. But like, there's this companion character that is with you the whole time, and he kind of make comment about stuff, and that's some of the stuff that I really like in movie, in games, in comic book as well. One of my favorite characters, Batman, he have two personality. Like Two-Face have two personality. I like him as a lot as a villain. Even movie, I like movie like Enemy. I like movie like Looper. Those movie about like a character playing two character, or two character playing one character, stuff like that. Those duality of personality is always something that I have always been interested in, and this game kind of expressed that with its storytelling. And the world design of this game is really cool. It's like what 13-year-old me would go crazy for. I'm 20 years old. That's 7 years of my life. I can always turn back. There's a knot within me. I can turn back from going from a 20-year-old man into a 13-year-old man. And when I go back to me 13-year-old, I love that art. It's just like, it's the coolest thing ever. It's some of those stuff that I would draw on paper, right? Like when back in the day I would draw Goku, I would draw Vegeta, I would draw all these characters in Dragon Ball Z or in Naruto and some crazy shit, right? Like, and like back in the day I would do that, and I'm a horrible artist. You don't want to see my drawing. I can't draw for shit, but like those are the stuff I draw back in the day, and this game expressed a lot of that, a lot of those imaginative that kid have. And it's so cool when I see that game in action and just see the character walking around, the animation, and how bad that he is. I'm just feeling like, oh my god, this is so cool. So yeah, Fully is one of the most fun I have had this year, definitely. And it's like, It's a game that everyone plays, so I can talk with everyone who have PlayStation 4, and that's basically every gamer. Basically, I can talk with almost everyone about this game, and it's awesome. And everyone have different experience. Everyone struggle with different boss, so it's a really cool game. It's awesome that it's PlayStation Plus, so a lot of people get to enjoy it. Next one is Firewatch. Firewatch is one of those narrative game, one of those walking simulator people like to call it, but this one is a little different. The story is actually, I would say, simple, but it's really clever how they design it. It's this man, going to, like, he have stuff happen in his life before. So in terms of backstory, there's a backstory to his characters, and it's about him taking care of this forest basically as like a ranger and stuff like that. I don't know what it's called officially. And there's this woman he talked to on his radio, and she's on an outpost. You're having this conversation and you have this conversation choices, but it's about you just moving around. You're always constantly moving. It's not one of those telltale games where you have to stop, pick a choice, and then the game will progress, right? It's about you moving around. You can keep talking while you're moving around, while you're doing other stuff, right? And it feels more like an adventure game that way. And so I feel like they solve a lot of problem, and there's some level of exploration to it. You can kind of move around a lot, really. But like, there's like Metroidvania game, there's places that you can't go without certain equipment. Like if you don't have an axe, for example, you can't access certain area. That there's something that block it, for example. If you turn out all the hint and all the stuff, it really feel like you're going in this forest and you don't know where you're doing, and you have to look up the map and try to figure out everything. And so the game really cool if you want to play it immersely. I feel like you can really immerse into this game and go wild with it. Like the playtime is going to differ and vary on how much you want to go and do all these weird stuff that might not do too much, but it gets you walking around, experiencing this world and stuff like that. So it's definitely cool. I would say it's a big step and big evolution to the Telltale formulaic game that they keep pumping out. It's definitely something that I feel like if you're Telltale right now, you need to start looking at. And if you make an episodic adventure game, this is definitely something to look at, because this is not an episodic game as well. It's a complete game that come out and it blow people away. And I feel like this is, if you can do it this way, please do it this way, right? Don't release it in episodic and make people wait for like years and years. And so that doesn't seem to make much sense. Next one is No Man's Sky. This game I haven't bought, and I know it's one of the most controversial game this year. It has a lot of awful design decision, and it's universe wide, and like this deep, right? In terms of mechanics, it's this deep. But like, it's so big. The universe is so big, there's so much to do. A lot of people like to compare it now to Spore, that it has so many things, you can customize so many monsters and stuff like that. At the end of the day, there's not much gameplay, there's not much thinking into it. There's definitely some crazy design that they overlook in this game, and it's like, when you think about it, you're like, I can't, how, what, why do I have to? Okay, it definitely make you pause when you look at some stuff like the whole, you run out of slot, and if the slot fill up, then you can't switch places and stuff like that. The whole UI is so bad. You have to land before you move around, and you have to always go back to your ship. You can't call your ship, right? You can't go, I'm gonna walk 100 miles that way, right? And then I'm gonna call the ship, because then you have to walk 100 miles back to your fucking ship, right? And so it's like, it's an exploration game that punish you for exploring. And that's really, really bad, right? And like, when you fly around, you don't see anything, because the draw distance is as short as, like, it's shorter than most open world games. So I'm like, what the fuck? So what's the point of having this huge world? You can't see it unless you land. And when you land, it takes so long to land, and it takes so long for you to walk from one direction to the next direction. And then you have to walk all the way back to your fucking ship. And then you will be running out of resources. And when you run out of resources, you have to collect more resources. And then the game is fucking stupid, right? And it leads the whole point of the fucking game, right? Is to explore, to experience all these different worlds. And at the end of the day, you just collect stuff. It's a collectathon. You want to go to the center of the universe, you go to the center of the universe, and then there's nothing. And it's like, what the fuck? What's the point of this game? But despite all that, despite my rage, despite my madness with this game, but like, at the end of the day, this game tried something really cool. This game tried to create a universe, tried to create something that is never existed before. It used scientific formula. It revolutionized a lot of things that we will see in the years to come, right? Like this whole procedural generation in this insane degree. I would say it's in insane degree because we have procedurally generated content before, but we never have anything like this. We never have anything this create this much universe, create this much chaos in the like in the whole grand tale thing. It's like it's fucking incredible what they managed to do. But again, the lack of mechanic, the lack of design philosophy, the lack of polishness. Normal playtesting would have solved like a lot of this problem. The fact that it doesn't have that, and at this point, I don't think we have any update yet. And I know they are a small team, and we are expecting a lot. But you're selling this game at $60. That's a full price game. It's supposed to have those experience that you also promised that is going to be there. That is not there. The end result is a lot of mad people with a lot of pitchfork and a lot of people who want to burn stuff down, right? And that's internet for you, but like I know I feel bad for the developer definitely when they get, personal death threats and stuff like that. It's like, don't do that, people. Seriously. Like I get that you're mad, I get that you're not happy, but like don't pin it all on them, like this is video game, like how hard it is to develop game, and if you don't, try develop your own game, try learning code, right? Like everything have to be designed, and what they managed to do in terms of scientifically create this game, procedurally generated, all this stuff, it's incredible, and you have to respect some of that on them as well. But maybe they promise too much, and you can kind of blame them a little bit, but like don't go full aggro on them, don't blame them too much. You can't really fault them too much because they're really ambitious. Again, very similar to Double Fine here. Like they tried something never everyone else would never try, and they did it not flawlessly, but they tried. So did they overpromise? Yeah. Did the game end up kind of suck? Yeah. Can you fault them for that? Maybe a little bit. But at the same time, that doesn't give you the right to go and just point finger at people and blame them and tell them to go kill themselves, stuff like that. There is almost no reason for you to go and do that with anyone, almost period, right? Like you shouldn't be doing that to people in any case, in general. I feel like that's really mean thing to do. So I don't know why people keep doing it. I know you're mad. Went in a different way. Try to go constructive criticism. Make YouTube video, right? Like if you have those feelings, those passion, I feel like a lot of people want to hear your opinion. I mean, like even in game where people have said everything there is to say about it, I still believe there's people out there who have opinion about this game, and they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna went that in different way. Like try to make your passion, try to make your aggro, your unhappiness into something more meaningful, something that matter more, right? And maybe YouTube might not be the best way. Maybe you think you're a good writer. Maybe you write an article about it and stuff like that. There's a lot of way you can do it, and I don't want to tell you how you supposed to do it. But like, if you don't like the game, don't go full aggro on the developer. Maybe use reasoning. Maybe think about stuff and stuff like that in the grand thing. It's at the end of the day, it's a video game, and they work hard on the game, and sometimes you just can't do anything about it. Then we have Battleborn. Talking about disappointment, I mean, like in terms of campaign, I definitely am disappointed with this game. The campaign is god awful, and like for those who enjoy Borderland game a little bit, I didn't love Borderland, but when I played with my friend and stuff like that, we have a lot of fun. Like we shoot stuff, we level up, we get new gun, we shoot more stuff, we get more gun, we get more loot, we got more armor, we shoot more stuff, we kill more enemy. It's more enemy, we kill more stuff. It's like, it's really fun. Borderland, the whole loop that it has, it's still really fun. The game quirky, there's like a lot of really dumb enemy, a lot of really weird enemy. And the game just like, hey, we are a video game, we are fun, let's have fun, let's have all this color, let's have all these dumb joke, let's have all these meme, right? And it's like, yeah, like, whoa, let's do this. It's really fun when you have a lot of friends and you can laugh about stuff, you can laugh at the game, you can laugh at your own expense, and you can laugh at a lot of stuff. But in this game, I feel the campaign take itself way too seriously. And I know some of the enemy are like, oh, I'm so funny. Like, I remember one of those turtle robot thing, that turret robot turtle thing, something like that, was making funny joke. But like, there's a dissonance there because your character are being super serious, and then there's this guy who being super not serious, and then you have an enemy who is super serious, and the world is super serious because the entire planet is blowing up. I mean, the entire galaxy is blowing up. So there's one sun left and very few planet left. So like this is like the survival of a species here. So the context is very serious. It's very live or die, right? It's very important, right? And all these characters as well. They take themselves sometimes way too seriously, and then you have a dissonance of like this character being dumb NPC that you come across, and then you have this enemy that take itself too seriously, but then they do dumb shit like telling you the move that they are going to do before they do it in the most weirdest way possible, and it's like, what is going on? I would say the multiplayer is definitely interesting. The multiplayer is where I really like the game, but you have to look at it and go, this is definitely unnecessary complicated. And there's a lot of stuff like that, like the whole collecting the gold thing that you collect to upgrade. I think it's like, I don't know, it's a currency that you use to upgrade. And you see that a lot in a Dota game, in mobile game in general. The way in which they do it in this game is kind of weird because like you want to take more position, but you also want to collect these so you can upgrade yourself. But the upgrade doesn't do too much. It doesn't add too much stuff, but it helps you a little bit. But it's sometimes kind of out of the way, so you have to go and collect it. There's different mode, right? Like there's one of those that you want to shoot down the turret, and that one is not fun. It's just not fun to go to a turret, trying to kill it, and it trying to shoot you, and you're like, wait, ain't I supposed to shoot you, right? And like the turret keeps shooting you, and then you have to worry about the enemy, and then you push back and forth, and usually it end up in a draw, and those who do the more damage win. And it's like, what's the point? But the one where you supposed to control minion into killing itself, that one is a little more interesting, right? It's so hard to market that game. I feel like it must be insane to market the multiplayer of that game. And I almost feel like that's the main focus as well, because the campaign is so bad. The whole checkpoint in the campaign is also bad as well. So it's a really weird game that combines a lot of stuff, and like I feel like nothing is good because on one part they took something so seriously, on the other part they don't take anything seriously at all. And you know, like all these characters have lore and stuff like that, right? Like they have comic book for their character and stuff like that, so you would know about this character history. So they took that stuff seriously, but then the game ended up being not serious, and so the whole dissonance with this game is so crazy and so wild, and I think that's what led to the failure of this game. Next one is Mighty Number 9. This game is bad. I don't want to talk about it. I love Mega Man. I bought Mega Man Legacy Collection this year. I have so much fun with Mega Man Legacy Collection. I don't want to talk about Mighty Number 9 at all. It's so bad. It's garbage. I like to say that developer, you know, when they want to do cool thing, that's awesome. When Keiji Inafune want to kickstarted this game, I'm like, cool, right? I gave him a big thumb up. I'm like, fuck Capcom. Capcom have done nothing for this franchise. They have did nothing for Mega Man. And now I'm glad that they didn't do anything with it. This is one of the games that I'm passionately dislike. But, you know, it's a new IP. They try something new, I guess. But it's not really, because they actually copy the entire franchise, and they built the whole entire foundation of the franchise based on Mega Man itself. So it's not really a new IP, and it's not really trying something new, and it managed to still ruin the franchise because it even can't even get the frame rate to 60 frames per second, and it have really cool design, like when you kill enemy and you boost into them, you get bonus. That doesn't help you too much. Yeah, fuck Mighty Number 9. It's not good at all. It's probably the worst new IP this year. Worst high profile new IP. I still have fun with Battleborn. It's a weird mix of game. But Mighty Number 9, I have no fun with it at all. Even No Man's Sky, I have to respect the whole, like, oh, we gotta do this crazy stuff, right? And I respect that, you know, even though I don't like it, I respect it. I have no respect for Mighty Number 9. I don't like the game at all. And I don't know, man. I don't think he should be making any more Mighty Number 9 game. Next one is Hyperlight Drifter. Hyperlight Drifter is an interesting case of a game because the game is awesome and it has cool design and it has cool world and everything, but the game is locked at 30 frames per second. And I know they recently fixed it, but when the game originally came out, it locked at 30 frames. So a lot of people were like, this is a really cool, fast-paced action, you know, slashing game, and it has really cool art. I want to play this game. The game is locked at 30 frames per second. Why? And it has pixel graphics, so it would be perfect scenario. The game would run flawlessly on any machine, right? Like any generic machine would be able to run this game at 60 frames if they designed it to be 60 frame game when it originally came out. And because of that, I feel like a lot of people steer away from it. But I still think it's a really cool game. It's a very difficult game, very similar to Fury, right? But like, it's difficult and it's very rewarding, unlike Fury, which some people may say is not rewarding, but for me, it's cool, it's awesome for me. But like for a lot of people, in terms of design, why I feel like um, Hyperlight Drifter is definitely more solid. They really, you can tell they really put a lot of effort into the game and creating this world hub, and like you can go north, south, west, and then, like east, and like there's different direction you can go, and you can face off against different type of enemy and stuff like that. So I feel like design wise, Hyperlight Drifter might actually be better than Fury, but like execution wise, not having it at 60 frame in a game with pixel art, right? It's really really weird, and it also creates a lot of motion sickness. This is one of the few game that when I watch it, I actually get motion sickness. I never had that problem before. I can play an FPS game on console with a control stick on like, I don't know, 20 frames per second, 25 frames per second. And I did it before. Killzone Shadowfall, I think it's a great example of that. That game have awful frame rate. I can play through that no problem, right? I didn't enjoy it like because the frame rate is so bad, but like I can play through Killzone Shadowfall. I don't have problem with it at all. I can play this game. This game just like the whole pixel art with the whole frame lock thing, and I'm like, fuck. This make me want to throw up, because the game also have a lot of screen shake effect when you fight certain enemy, that they kind of jump around and it create this screen shake effect, and I'm like, oh my god, oh, I can't play this. So I have never went back to it, and I've never go back to the game and look at it in a new light. So it might be really good now. Next one is Oxenfree, one of those walking simulator, and this one is quite literally walking, because you're walking, but like you're talking with different characters. It has really weird, almost horror style of storytelling to it, so it's definitely an interesting game. It's one of those adventure walking game. You talk to different characters. They're teenage characters, so you like, at first you're like, is this something like Until Dawn? But it grow on you, so it's a really slow burn, like Until Dawn is. In many way, I would guess. I haven't played myself, but I only heard good thing about it. Next one is Adrift. Adrift is one of those experience games. It's one of those I want to go to space game, and the graphic is amazing. But from what I've heard, the story is not good. Like the story doesn't seem to have so much payoff into it. Adrift seems like a really cool space simulation game, especially the game also support virtual reality as well. So if you want to go to space, this is the game for you. You will want to be space astronaut in movie like Gravity, for example. It's probably the biggest comparison that this game have to the movie Gravity. Is like you actually get to experience what Sandra Bullock experienced in Gravity, right? So it kind of gives you that experience within virtual reality, and within safeness of your home. You don't actually have to go into space and risk your life and go to NASA training and crazy stuff like that, right? You can experience space in the comfort of your home, and it has some story tidbit as well. And if I have a virtual reality, I would buy into this game just because of the experience of. But I don't have one myself yet. I have played on virtual reality at my friend's place before, so I played the game before. I have experienced the game before in virtual reality, and I feel that definitely justify the price. But I didn't buy it myself. I don't have virtual reality, so I didn't play it every day, so I can't tell in terms of how long those experience last. For me, I have fun with it for like 15 minutes, and then I have to leave. Next one is Inside. Inside is from the developer of Limbo. So this one is, again, it's one of those platformer game, but it has so much meaning into it, and like it has been so long since Limbo have been so long ago, so they have been developing this game for quite a while. So it's definitely awesome. I don't want to spoil too much. This game is one of those games you don't know anything going into it. Just know that it's a platformer game, so there's a lot of puzzle platform like Limbo, but it has storytelling that is going to be very similar to Limbo in terms of like, it actually make you think, but it doesn't have too much, like directly telling you what happened, but it just kind of show and it don't tell. Quantum Break is one of those third-person shooter game with time mechanic, with the whole storytelling. At first they planned it to be a storytelling with the game along with a TV series, but then the TV series didn't go through, so they actually combined the story in the TV series into the disc of the game, so you can play through a part of the game and then unlock a cutscene that you can watch with live action movie. So I am never a big fan of those type of plan, trying to do video game and integrate it with TV series. I just think if you if you want to play the game, you want to play the game. You want to watch the movie, you want to watch the movie. And there's cool way to combine it, but I don't think this is the way to do it. This is not the way to try to combine everything together. So I'm not a big fan of how they're designed to do that. But I have to say the game is actually interesting. Slowing down time, shooting at enemy, and it can feel really satisfying when you stop time and you shoot all these guys, and you feel very invincible. So it have a lot of those power fantasy that a lot of game have, and so it's really fun. It's one of those AAA games that you play through it. It's fun, and it has these cutscenes that you can look into, and it's actually kind of interesting. These FMV characters, and it has a lot of big name actor into it as well. So it's cool that exists. It's definitely different, but I still don't like the whole we're gonna use FMV instead of actually working on a real cutscene for the game. Next one is Record. This one I haven't played. I have mixed feeling on, and it's probably the newest one in the list. Maybe something else is newer, but I think this one is the newest one on the list that I just made. I have heard very little about it, and it just kind of go into obscurity. People definitely like the design of the game, and I'm definitely one of them who like the design, the whole character design, the whole world design, right? But the game, a lot of people say it looked like an Xbox 360 game. It looked kind of old, and the game also suffered from some technical problem as well. Along with that, they said the whole gameplay loop is not too interesting. You have platformer, and then you have trying to kill enemy and stuff like that, shooting with your gun. But and the game always look cool to me, so I might check the game out when it go on discount and stuff like that. It doesn't have the best review, so I'm very, very cautiously optimistic about it, but I don't want to push too much expectation into it, and I don't know too much about the game, so I won't pretend that I know too much. So yeah, that's the list. That's 2016 new IP, 21 game. That's a lot of game, that I have to talk about. So I hope that gives you some idea about games that come out this year, and that gives you some idea of a new IP game that maybe you want to support and want to look into. And definitely some of these games are more obscure than the other. Everyone know Overwatch, everyone know Division, everyone know Doom, but I think very few people would know about Oxenfree and things like Recall. So yeah, it's interesting definitely to make this video. I have always thought about making this video, but I know the problem is that the video is going to be so long. It's 53 minutes right now on my mark. I will try to edit it out to be as short as possible. Yeah, hope you like it, and if you like the video, always leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for watching, and see you guys next time. It's a long video. Thank you for sticking around, for those who have, and for those who didn't, I hope you liked the video, but you wouldn't see this anyway, so I don't know why I'm saying this. Bye bye.